is ESPN, the network for thoroughbred racing.
Monmouth Park on the New Jersey shore is the host site today for another live Grade 1 thoroughbred racing doubleheader on ESPN. And favorites beware. First, we go to Saratoga, the track known as the graveyard of favorites for the John A. Morris Handicap for fillies and mares. Recent upsets in this race have claimed Versailles Treaty, beaten at 7-10 in 1992. And Colonial Waters lost as the 8-5 favorite the year before. Last weekend in the Alabama Stakes, Lakeway, the nation's top 3-year-old filly, was added to Saratoga's headstones of can't-lose favorites. Here at Monmouth since 1986, when its premier handicap event was renamed for one of its founders, Philip H. Iselin. 7 of 8 favorites have been upset, including superstars like Lady's Secret, Lost Code, Crypto Clearance, Strike the Goal, and last year, Bertrando, a beaten third as the odds-on favorite. Where will today's public choices end up? In the winner's circle or here in the graveyard of favorites? Racing to the Breeders' Cup, presented by Thrifty Car Rental. Last week, our Racing to the Breeders' Cup Series opened at Del Mar on the Pacific Ocean. Today, we've come to the Atlantic Ocean and another seaside track, Monmouth Park. We'll also be going live to Saratoga for another Grade 1 event, the John A. Morris Handicap. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Welcome to the second stop on our Racing to the Breeders' Cup Series here on ESPN. We're about 10 minutes away from the beach here in this resort community of Oceanport, New Jersey. The weather perfect for this afternoon here near the beach. Temperatures around the 80-degree mark, 50% chance of rain, gusty wind, and a fast racetrack. Well, the Iselin today, our feature race, has 3 stars looking to regain some of their past luster. We'll start with the morning line favorite and the local choice here, Storm Tower. He's on the lead and heading to the wire at the Wood Memorial. New York's major Kentucky Derby prep race last year as a 3-year-old. He won more than $650,000. Then the veteran of the field, the 6-year-old Valley Crossing, winner of more than $1.5 million, coming on the outside to win last year's Iselin. But he hasn't been to the winner's circle since. And Dogwood Stables WALLENDA. Here, romping in the Suffolk Downs Budweiser Breeders' Cup this year, showing some of the form he flashed as a 3-year-old, but he won more than $750,000. But this is Grade 1 company now. 6 will challenge these 3 stars in a race that has had quite a bit of impact on the Breeders' Cup. 7 starters since 1984 have gone on to the championship day of racing. As you see, we've had 2 Horse of the Year titles come out of this race and 4 Breeders' Cup champions, including 2 that have won the world's richest race, the $3 Million Classic. Black Tie Affair had the double in 1991. In 1988, Ali Sheba, heading to the Classic, stopped here at the Iselin to even an old score. When they went to the post for the 1988 Iselin, Ali Sheba and Bet Twice had already met 7 times. Ali Sheba was on the wrong end of a 4-3 score. In fact, Bet Twice had won the last 4 meetings between the 2 old rivals over a 13-month period. Dave Johnson called another classic battle.
Now they're bunching up on the front end. City Slew has the lead by a head. Now there goes Bet Twice. Craig Perrette asks for speed and gets it. And it's Bet Twice leading the way by 1. City Slew second. Gulch is third. Here comes Ali Sheba on the outside fourth. They're in the stretch. Bet Twice has the lead by 2 lengths. On the far outside, here comes Ali Sheba. The rivalry continues. And down the stretch they come. Bet Twice on the inside. Ali Sheba on the outside with McCarran. Coming to the wire. Ali Sheba to the front. And to the front easily as McCarran guides him to a 1-length victory with Bet Twice finishing second.
Ali Sheba had evened the count in a 3-year rivalry that was enjoyed by observers and participants alike.
They were both good horses, and it was good for the public, it was good for the people. It kept everybody interested, and it made for good racing, I can tell you that.
The final tally would stand 5-4 in Ali Sheba's favor. as he marched towards his current status as racing's all-time leading money earner. Great memories here as we head towards the Breeders' Cup, November 5th, Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. Big crowd here at Monmouth Park. Glad you've joined us this afternoon. Racing to the Breeders' Cup, presented by Thrifty Car Rental, is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clear, classic taste. By Hollywood Park, where great times are a sure bet. Merck & Company, manufacturers of Ekvaland. By Auto Tote, where the action is. And by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates. Welcome back live at Monmouth Park in Oceanport, New Jersey. The first of our doubleheader, though, this afternoon will take you live to Saratoga for the John A. Morris. It's a handicap for fillies and mares, a race that since 1987 has sent 3 on to the Breeders' Cup Championship Day. Let's check the conditions now. On a rainy afternoon in Saratoga, and a sloppy racetrack awaits these 3-year-old fillies and mares. Grade 1, $200,000 in the purse. It's a mile and an eighth, and now fresh from their triumph at Saratoga yesterday in the Travers Stakes. Let's welcome back Dave Johnson and Bob Newmeyer.
Well, somehow we escaped that nasty weather yesterday, Dave, but we were on hand along with thousands of other racing fans to see an epic. I thought that the race yesterday, the Travers, Holy Bull holding over concern, is really an unforgettable experience.
Only sensational. And this being the home track of trainer Jimmy Kroll, everybody with a smile on their face here today.
But we're back at Saratoga for the Morris Handicap. These are 7 fillies and mares to go a mile and an eighth on that sloppy Saratoga oval.
And let's take a quick look at the field before we watch the action live from the spa. With a wink and Pat Day riding a long shot. Julie Krone gets the mount on Link River at 7-1. You'd be surprised with Jerry Bailey, high weight of 120 pounds, and the top and the lowest odds 3-2. AV's Daisy, low weight 110, and Jorge Chavez also a long shot. A horse who's won 3 in Canada, Penny Hill Park with Robert Landry, is at 7-1. November Snow, winner of last year's Alabama with Mike Smith, who won with Holy Bull yesterday 9-2 in dispute with Jose Santos, is 2-1. Who's the horse to beat, Bob?
I think the horse to beat is You'd Be Surprised, Dave. This is as versatile a thoroughbred as there is in training. She's number 3 out of the Rokeby stable, and she can win sprinting. She can win going long on dirt or on turf. And her versatility will be put to the test again today on that sloppy oval at Saratoga, but other good ones as well.
Oh, Shug McGay, he's having a heck of a season up there, and Jose Santos had 3 yesterday. He pulled the upset last week, beating Lakeway with Heavenly Prize. He might have Dispute in the winner's circle today.
And don't forget, with a wink, with Dwayne Lucas trying to make amends, as we see Dispute, who was excellent this staffer last year, vied with those horses in the Breeders' Cup. Hollywood Wildcat and Passiana. Penny Hill Park moving in. There's Dispute in those familiar Phipps colors. But we have With a Wink breaking from the one. Dwayne Lucas trying to soften the blow from the disappointment of yesterday's effort by Tabasco Cat.
Who do you think the track condition will help?
Well, I think speed generally, as a rule, plays well in the slot. But I think that You'd Be Surprised to be pressing the pace. I think Dispute will be right up there. For the call of this race, let's go to Saratoga Springs in the voice of Tom Durkin.
Dispute acting up just a bit. Settle down, and they're off. Link River comes out in stride, but Pat Day is moving early with a wink. He'd like to get the lead, and they move for the first turn, and indeed, With a Wink will be the early pacemaker. Link River is second on the outside. In between horses, Penny Hill Park is third. Dispute is fourth. You'd Be Surprised has taken a position at the inside, running along in mid-pack. And farther back, it's November Snow, who's second to last in the early going. She's trying to take hold of this off-going, and the trailer is Avi's Daisy. Into the backstretch With a Wink, pressured by Link River. The quarter went in 23 4/5 seconds. Dispute just off the lead on the outside and kept close third. For the inside, Penny Hill Park is now fourth. November Snow has moved up in the pack to be fifth. The favorite, You'd Be Surprised, has tailed off. Now second to last. Avi's Daisy is the trailer. 5 furlongs from the line. With a Wink and Link River up in 1-2 the whole way. They get a half together in 47 3/5 seconds. Dispute is laying off the lead about 3 lengths from it now. Penny Hill Park, You'd Be Surprised, is moving through an opening toward the inside now with the half mile to run. November Snow near the back of the pack, and Avi's Daisy. Around the far turn, With the Wink still holding on to a short lead. Link River is right there at her neck on the outside. Here comes Dispute mounting her bid for the lead, moving up into third. You'd be surprised there's only 3.5 lengths from the lead now. They're coming to the top of the stretch. With a Wink couldn't keep up. It's now Link River who turns for home with a 2-length lead. Dispute's under a drive. Link River getting away at the top of the stretch now by 3.5 lengths. You'd be surprised, trying to come on through second now. Dispute on the outside, and toward the inside, it's With the Wink. Now back running in fourth. Link River a furlong from victory, still there by 2.5 lengths. You'd be surprised is giving her all here, but it's still Link River the one to catch, and Link River will not be caught. Link River scores in the John A. Morris to win by 2.5 lengths. You'd be surprised was second this year. Farther back, Dispute finished third, and the time over the sloppy going was 1 minute 50 and 2/5 seconds.
Well, a former runner from England comes over to Saratoga and shows again why it's a graveyard of favorites. Link River, the 2-horse owned by Muhammad Al Maktoum. A filly, a 4-year-old by Gone West on a connecting link by Linkage, trained by Billy Mott. As Link River, there you see coming down the stretch, the 2-horse and pulling away from the favorites. Saratoga again claims another victim in the John A. Morris, the Grade 1 filly and mare race. Link River, the unofficial winner on a sloppy racetrack at Saratoga Springs, New York. You're looking at a live shot at Saratoga Racetrack as Julie Krone brings Link River, unofficial winner of the John A. Morris Handicap, to the winner's circle at Saratoga. Since coming from England, Link River has now won 4 of 5. She was second in the Grade 1 Go for One, beaten 10.5 on a fast track. But Bob, today, she caught a sloppy racetrack, and she seemed to love it.
Ladies' Day at Saratoga for Julie Krone and for Link River. Here she is on the lead. She's the big chestnut with the white blaze and the maroon and maroon cap, just taking the lead over Pat Day and With a Wink as they turn for home. You see Dispute in the black silks ranging up too wide, never a true factor in this race. And the late rallying, You'd Be Surprised, always a hard trier. As you can see, the wet and the puddles and the slop and the muck, and Julie Krone enjoying it, sticking Link River with the right hand and moving off 2 lengths clear of You'd Be Surprised. You know, they said trainer Billy Mott, who's one of the best in this business, was in a slump at Saratoga. Well, no longer. Link River for Miss Julie Krone in the saddle. An upset in the John A. Morris at Saratoga. Chris?
Well, as we wait for the John A. Morris to become official, Bob, and we wait as well for the big date in racing. The Championship Day, Breeders' Cup 11, November 5th, Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky. But you don't have to wait to play the Breeders' Cup. Caesar's Palace has their future book open now. In fact, of course, we've been able to play that for quite a few days now. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. But first, from the man who is the director of the Racing Sportsbook, Vince Miliolo. We asked him just about how to play this future book, what he'd do.
I'm going to look for a horse that I think maybe has not won a lot of races or his last few starts. But I'm going to look at a horse that has run second or third and who I think is improving with every race, and who I believe is geared toward a particular race, who try to follow his team's strategy. Look for some double-digit odds and say, I believe this horse is good. He's getting better. She's getting better with every performance. I think it's certainly a possibility that the horse will go to the Breeders' Cup in this race. I see 30-1. I'm going to jump on it.
All right, let's see how Vince is trying to entice us this week. Here are some big numbers for the Classic. You see Silver Music at 50-1. And look at Thunder Rumble. You just saw him win the Saratoga Cup. Winner of the Travers last year at 75-1 on the turf. Johann Quat's a big price, and Dominant Prospect at 40-1 in the mile. Those are the prices right now at some of the Caesars Future book. And let's take a look now at our official results from Saratoga of the John A. Morris, the Grade 1 for fillies and mares. And Link River pulls the upset at $19.60, $6 and $3. Again, trained by Billy Mott, owned by Sheikh Mohammed Al Maktoum, ridden by Julie Krone. You'd Be Surprised, the race time favorite is second, $2.80 and $2.40. Dispute at $2.40, the exacta $46, $1.50 and $4. The running time, 1.1 on a sloppy track at Saratoga. You see again Link River coming back to the winner's circle at Saratoga. An upset there. Will there be an upset at the Iselin? We'll find out when we come back. Now let's set the Iselin for you. The 59th running of their premier handicap race here. It's a Grade 1 feature, $250,000 in the purse. It's thoroughbred stringing up, going 9 furlongs, a mile and 1/8. The track is fast here. And to introduce the field, again to the paddock, and Bob Newmeyer.
Handicappers love racing challenges, and this is one today because we have a mixed bag of racing styles to offer you today. Front runners, stalkers, and closers, all shapes, sizes, and descriptions in the Iselin today. Let's meet the field, beginning with a horse that likes to come from behind. He's the veteran Valley Crossing with Andrea Seefeld, trained by Dick Small, who had that tough luck second with Concern in the Travers on Saturday. Storm Tower, we know where he likes to be, on the lead. He's one of the favorites with Rick Wilson. Mighty Avanti will break from the 3 with C.H. Marquez, taking risks. The reformed and rejuvenated claimer for the King of Maryland, King Leatherbury, and Mark Johnston. He's a stalker breaking from the 4. Wallenda likes to come from way out of the pack. Let's see if the pace sets up for his closing charge today. Craig Perret. And he'll be pressing the early pace with Storm Tower. Joe Bravo, the hottest jockey in the grounds here at Monmouth, will be vying with Rick Wilson for that early lead. He breaks from the 6. And a trio of rank outsiders would be Coal Digger, It's a Little Known Fact, and Proud Shot to complete the 9 runners to negotiate the mile and 1/8 here in the Iselin at Monmouth Park. Let's go back to Chris.
Little history for you, Bob, and history has not been kind to the local horses here. Consider this, in the last quarter of a century, only 2 locally based runners at Monmouth Park have won the Iselin Handicap. 1981, Amber Pass, and 1985, the great Svendebuck, who still holds the track and stakes record for the Iselin. Things might change, though, in 1994. Bob mentioned Storm Tower. He was the morning line favorite. Very impressive in his last start here after his trainer, Ben Perkins Jr., made some changes.
Well, he had a little bit of a lung infection early in the spring, and he bled after his allowance win, so we were able to get him on Lasix. And also in the race, we noticed that he had been looking around a little more than he had in the past, so we decided to put blinkers on him, and, you know, the combination of the two seems to really have helped him.
Speed looks like a big factor in this race. Talk about Storm Tower and his speed.
Well, he's very, very fast. I mean, he can run with the top sprinters in the country on the front end, but he has rated just slightly off the pace in the past, and, you know, we're not concerned if somebody sends out of the gate really quickly. You know, he'll sit behind a horse and relax for a while.
Storm Tower would like to win the Iselin. There he is, Benny Perkins Jr. Has a lot of options, by the way, with Storm Tower, considering the Breeders' Cup. Could go the mile, could go a short race on the grass, the sprint, or he could go to the Classic. He's got some challenges, though, including the defending champion, Valley Crossing. Now Bob Newmeyer's with his trainer, Dickie Small.
Joining us from Maryland is Dick Small, and before we talk about Valley Crossing, I must ask you about Concern. Wow, the talk of the racing world. I thought he was the winner at the 8th pole. He was going to run down Holy Bull and take the whole ball of wax. What'd you think?
Well, his race was terrific. Couldn't be more proud of him. Holy Bull's race a little better. He met everybody's best stuff, and Concern was really running, couldn't get by, so I was real proud of my horse, but the other horse was just a little better that day.
And Holy Bull here looks like you have him beat because you're charging up on the outside. And, of course, the big question was, could the Bull go the 1.25 miles? And here's the big Concern charge. You thought you had a shot here, Dick.
Actually, that's the first time I've seen that, but what a great race. I think this is a race of the ages. This is one of the real races.
So you're so proud of Concern, and now today's assignment is with Valley Crossing. He hasn't run now, and, yeah, you just come up a little short. The grimace is still in his face, folks. Still hurts. What about Valley Crossing? Now, he's been laid up for 7 weeks. What's the deal?
Well, we were sort of waiting for this race. He had run well here 2 years in a row. The year before he was third, real good race, and last year we won. This is a very interesting race. You got some real legitimate speed horse and some real legitimate closers, so they're all in the same race, and it should be a very interesting race.
He's a tough horse to train. I mean, he's always knocking around seconds and thirds and fourths. He always seems to make a run in a race, but again, he hasn't won since this race last year.
Well, horses with his sort of style, it's real hard to get him to win, but it's the other side of that is he's almost always in the money. So we're real pleased with him. He's 6 years old. He's still really at the same spot we were last year, even the year before. So you know, we're pretty proud of him also.
Good luck.
Okay, thanks.
All right, let's go back to Chris.
Just checking the odds board, by the way, on Valley Crossing. The one horse, a little surprising. He is now up to 6-1, the defending champion of the Iselin. The folks do like Storm Tower, the local horse. They're also really supporting Wallenda. We'll be back with more of our stories, the Iselin Handicap, when we return to Monmouth Park here in Oceanport, New Jersey. Before we don't go Wilfred Ginn is a star, but so is Dr. Larry Bramage. Congratulations. He became only the third veterinarian to be honored by the Jockey Club with their most prestigious award, the gold medal. Our congratulations to Dr. Larry Bramage. We also have some folks to congratulate who played racing's national bet, the national best 7 yesterday across America. We'll show you the winning numbers, and there were 17 who had those numbers and returned more than $8,800 on 50-cent combination tickets, more than $320,000 bet in the national best 7 yesterday. Well, we hear the call to the post, and they're circling in the paddock before they come to the trackside. Let's get a comment from Bob Newmeyer.
It's extremely hot and muggy at Monmouth today. The horses are remarkably composed, save for Northern Trend, who's washed out in the paddock here as they proceed to the main track. That could be significant because the last time Northern Trend met Storm Tower in the prep for this race, which was the Salvador Mile, a Grade 3 race, he was never really on the bit. And that allowed Storm Tower an easy, uncontested lead, and he strolled to a smashing 8-length victory. So if Northern Trend is off his game again today, it may give Storm Tower an easy lead. And of course, that would be very significant for jockey Rick Wilson, because if he is uncontested in this race, he will have an excellent chance to take this field wire to wire under jockey Rick Wilson. Chris?
Good friend of ours joining us now, the president CEO of the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority, the man who makes it happen, Mr. Bob Mulcahy. Bob, a great meeting at the Meadowlands wrapping up, and a sensational summer meeting at Monmouth.
That's true, Chris. We had a great opening day, the best in 25 years. We had a terrific Haskell showcasing Holy Bull, which is the best horse in America, as evidenced yesterday. And I think indicative of the meet is today's race. A very strong competitive field with a hometown horse, Storm Tower, a crowd that's up 4,000 from last year, and a great race. You can't beat it.
I've got to ask you, as the man who runs the Meadowlands, you had the Jets and Giants last night. You're still talking baseball there. You'd love to have a Major League Baseball team there.
Well, we'd always like to have baseball in New Jersey. It's something that we've hoped for a long time, and time will tell. But it was a great game last night. Of course, Leon Hess, who owns the Jets, is a great fan. He's here today. And Wellington Mara's a great race fan, too. So it's a tough night when we have that game.
Bob Mulcahy, President and CEO. Bob, I know you're ready to meet these horses as we are. Let's meet the field for the 1994 Iselin Handicap now. And we'll start with number 1, Valley Crossing. The defending Iselin champion has been 0 for 9, though, since. A strong second in the Suburban. The Devil is due on his last start. He's the field's leading money earner, $1.5 million. You met his trainer, Dick Small. Here's the rider, Andrea Seathal, Maryland-based, one of only 3 women ever to ride in the Kentucky Derby. When she rode in 1991, Valley Crossing now 4-1. The 2-horse is Storm Tower, a $13,000 Keeneland sale purchase, the Local Hope and the Speed horse. At 3, he won the Wood and the Fountain of Youth. The rider, Rick Wilson, past Monmouth riding champion at Storm Tower, now at 2-1. Mighty Avanti, the 3-horse, only 2 starts this year with a first and a second. Got a check, though, in 11 of 15 starts last year at 3. Trained by Ron Taylor, he's 13-1. Frank Gallivato has the ride, 25-year-old from Panama. The 4 horses, Taking Risks, up from Maryland, claimed by the legendary Maryland trainer King Leatherberry. Last November for $20,000. Since then has won 7 of 9 and over $255,000. The fans note that he's now 9-2. Mark Johnson has the ride. He was the Eclipse Apprentice champion in 1990. And here was the fans' favorite. This is Wallenda from Dogwood Stable at 2-1. $90,000 Keeneland sale purchase for Dogwood Stables, earned over $1.1 million. Won the Super Derby last fall. Craig Perrette rides for trainer Frank Alexander. Perrette, an Eclipse Award champion of 1990 when he won the Kentucky Derby. Northern Trend is the 6-horse, 14-1. A Speed horse was off the board on a sloppy track here in his last start, the Salvatore Mile. Won his previous 2 races at Monmouth Park, though, by a combined 15 lengths. He's got the services of the best rider on the grounds. Joe Bravo has locked up his 4th title at Monmouth. The 7-horse, kind of a surprise starter. 60-1. You see no lead pony with Cold Digger. Was running for a claiming tag in May. Has not been closer than 8 lengths in his last 4 starts. Prefers a wet track. Didn't get it today. The rider, Dean Butler. He's a low weight, 108 pounds. It's a little known fact at 25-1 from the barn of Cam Gambelotti from Calder, South Florida. $24,000 Keeneland purchase. You might remember it's a little known fact. He was second in the 1992 Breeders' Cup Juvenile, looking to regain that form after some injury problems. The rider, Gary Boulanger, coming down from Northern California. He's setting him on fire at Calder now. The 9-horse wrapping the field up. This is Proud Shot, 60-1. He's the 5-time training champion entry here of John Forbes, the former claimer, injured, had only 3 races this year with 2 thirds. Herb McCauley, the rider, top East Coast rider, has had a number of titles both here and at the Meadowlands. That is the field for the 59th running of the Philip H. Iselin. $250,000 in the purse. First prize, $150,000. Racing to the Breeders' Cup on ESPN. Today's 59th running of the Philip H. Iselin, presented by Hollywood Park, where great times are a sure bet. I don't know if we have a sure bet for you. We think we have a bet that return a good price in the Iselin today. It's time for the Budweiser long shot.
Can you believe a horse with 7 wins in 9 starts this year and $250,000 in earnings this season is a long shot? In fact, today's Budweiser long shot, it's number 4, Taking Risks. And those stats prove the depth of this Iselin field. Claimed last November for only $20,000 by trainer King Leatherberry for Baird Brittingham, this Maryland-bred Maryland shipper has had a spectacular year, running close to the pace and being super tough at the wire. Like this nose victory in his last start, the Baltimore Budweiser Breeders' Cup just 6 weeks ago, where he outgained Conte de Savoia and Frottage. He runs well fresh, which could be Leatherberry's game plan here. So what we care about is good performance at decent odds. We'll take the risk with Taking Risks as today's Budweiser long shot.
And the Budweiser long shot. The word is out, Dave. They bet him down to 9-2 here. That's Taking Risks. The Bud long shot at 9-2. Let's now give you a look at the current odds here, presented by Auto Tote, as we'll take a look at the favorites. And it's quite a struggle right now, we can tell you, here at Iselin, as we are now about 4 minutes away from the running of this 59th Iselin Handicap. And on the board, we've got the co-favorite struggling here as you take a look at the 9-horse, Proud Shot. And boy, he'd be a big price for someone today at 50-1 as he heads to the starting gate. The gate set just behind the 8th pole here, 1.125 the fast racetrack at Monmouth. Now the current odds presented by Auto Tote for you. Valley Crossing 7-2, Storm Tower at 2, Mighty Avanti at 14, Taking Risk 9-2. WALLENDA is actually the betting favorite in terms of money bet to this point. Northern Trend at 13. Then it's Cold Digger, It's a Little Known Fact, and Proud Shot, all at big prices. The horses are warming up and getting ready to load up for the running of the Iselin. We'll be back with our Grade 1 handicap right after this. They're approaching the starting gate at Monmouth Park for the Grade 1 Philip H. Iselin Handicap. Taking a look there at Mighty Avanti, kind of an interesting story. Ron Taylor, the trainer, has really had to work hard with this 4-year-old gelding. Only 2 starts this year. Came up with a foot problem. He nursed him back there. Then he always seems to do this, said before a big race. He loves to throw his rider, slips around in the mud. He did it just the other day. We're in the barn area. Well, they cleaned him up, got him ready, and Ron Taylor was smiling, said, that's a great sign for us. I don't think the exercise rider cared much for it, but Mighty Avanti, the gelding, one to keep an eye on here today. Bob Newmeyer, your thoughts here on the Iselin?
The players are having difficulty making a favorite, and I can see why. Storm Tower, just $1,000 more in the win pool over WALLENDA. None of these horses you can really count on. WALLENDA always gives a good run, often doesn't get there. Storm Tower had everything his own way last time. First time Lasix, first time blinkers, muddy track, which he loves. Valley Crossing's been off 7 weeks. Taking Risk's been off 7 weeks. So it's really a grab bag at this stage. It should be a good one. And maybe a strategy might be to use It's a Little Known Fact to hit the board in the trifecta at 25-1 for the call of the Iselin upstairs to Dave Johnson.
And there's Northern Trend, who ran a big race last out, actually 2 races ago, and didn't like the off-track in his last start. And here is the oldest horse in the field, Cold Digger, who runs late pretty well. It's a little known fact. Best running late, Cam Gambelotti, who trained Spendabuck, is the trainer of this one. Storm Tower has a love affair with Monmouth. He's been here 6 times. He's had 3 wins in 3 seconds. The 8-horse, It's a Little Known Fact, doesn't want to get in the gate. Gary Boulanger aboard this this Kentucky bred, who's 0 for 5 in Florida this year. And Proud Shot is the last horse, Herb McCauley, aboard the number 9, who moves into line. Will be in mid-pack throughout the early part of this contest. And they're off in the Iselin. And taking risks, the Bud long shot stumbled just a step or two out of the gate. And as they pass the stands for the first time, Storm Tower with Rick Wilson on the inside, being pressed by Northern Trend with jockey Joe Bravo. Those two hook up early. Storm Tower at the rail. And on the outside, Northern Trend there. 7 lengths in front of the third horse, who's taking risks. The Bud Longshot, who's recovered, and now just about 7 lengths off the lead. It's 4 back to Proud Shot, who's racing 4th, then 7 back to Valley Crossing. Wallenda along the inside is next, followed by Cold Digger on the outside. A gap of 2.5 to It's a Little Known Fact racing 8th, and Mighty Avanti is 9th. There's about 23 lengths from front to back. Quite strung out, they move down the backstretch, and Storm Tower has shaken loose. He's got the lead with Rick Wilson aboard by 3.5 lengths. That's Northern Trend holding the second spot by 7. Then it's Taking Risks racing in third, followed by Proud Shot. 45.5 after a very quick first quarter of 22-1. And they go to the far turn, and Rick Wilson's trying to take Storm Tower as far on the front end as he can, but here comes the Bud Longshot, taking risks, gobbling up ground with every stride, and taking risks with Mark Johnston on the outside, takes command at the quarter pole at 9-2, and taking risks on the outside, now draws clear by 2.5, with Storm Tower dropping back into the second spot. It's 2 lengths farther back, Proud Shot, and Valley Crossing is flying out in the middle of the racetrack. They come to the 16th pole, and it's all taking risks. It's the Bud Longshot in front by 6. It's going to be taking risks, getting the Iselin. The battle is strictly for the place spot. Eased under the wire, taking risks. The $20,000 claimer, who has $250,000 in the bank this year already, now adds the $250,000 Iselin to his scorecard. Taking risks with Mark Johnston, the Bud Longshot home in 148 1/5.
Well, we said favorites beware. You saw it first in the John A. Morris when the horse returned $19, and now an upset here in the Philip Iselin. And it is Taking Risk, and what a great story this is. Taking Risk, the 4-year-old bay gelding, claimed by the legendary Maryland trainer King Leatherberry, as we told you, for $20,000 in November. Since then, he has now won 8 of 9 starts. He had $255,000 plus in earnings going into today, at another $150,000 as Taking Risk, by the way, not Breeders' Cup eligible, unofficially wins the Iselin. Bob?
What set this race up was suicide fractions turned in by Rick Wilson on Storm Tower and Joe Bravo on Northern Trend. They went 22-1, 45, and sitting in the stocking catbird seat, loving every second of it, was the jockey of Taking Risks, Mark Johnston. He said, "Thank you very much," when Storm Tower chucked it. Northern Trend was eased, Wallenda too little too late, and the easiest kind of win for a horse you could have claimed, ladies and gentlemen, for the bargain price of $20,000 a couple of months ago. How about that? Since then, he's won 8 races, has had 2 seconds. He's been a model of consistency. The only question mark today was his condition. He hadn't raced in 7 weeks, but they don't call Mr. Leatherberry the king in Maryland for nothing. Chris?
148-1, the unofficial time, well off the 146-4 track and stakes record. But Taking Risks, who King Leatherberry says is a flat runner, proved it today at Monmouth Park. Racing to the Breeders' Cup on ESPN. Today's live coverage of the Philip H. Iselin, presented by Hollywood Park, where great times are a sure bet. And there is in the winner's circle, not the sure bet, but the Bud Longshot, Taking Risks, the 4-year-old gelded son owned by Lakeville Stables, trained by King Leatherberry. And there's the rider, Mark Johnston, pulling off the upset here in the Iselin Handicap. We'll take another look at just how Taking Risks did it here with Dave Johnson.
Well, he did it with a sharp effort, quick when called upon down the backstretch. Here's Storm Tower, who had led from the bell with Northern Trend right alongside. Here at this point, Northern Trend backs up, and in our thrifty car rental replay, you will see the Bud Longshot just gobbling up the ground, and he just engulfs Storm Tower. They bought this horse for 20 grand on the advice of Jerry Brown, who makes those numbers for his thorograph sheets. And at the quarter pole, really, Mark Johnston, all he did was look around to see how far he was going to win. You know, speed kills, and it certainly killed off the 2 front runners here. 22-1, 45 1/2, 3/4 in 109-1. And this buds for you, Mark Johnston, his second victory of the afternoon. And Andrea Seefeld gets Valley Crossing rolling. A bit late, though, not even in the picture to complete the exacta. And the 9-horse Proud Shot completes the trifecta. Big afternoon for the Maryland folks, Chris.
And the presentation, Mrs. Betty Iselin, the widow of the late Phil Iselin. She still heads up the Monmouth Park Charity Fund, founded by her late husband. It has raised over $6 million through the years for the needy of Monmouth community. And quite a smile in the winner's circle of the Iselin Handicap of 94. Racing to the Breeders' Cup's Iselin Handicap, presented by Thrifty Car Rental, features a Budweiser long shot winning this afternoon, Taking Risk, claimed by King Leatherberry, who stayed back in Maryland. We yelled down to the winner's circle and said, why? And they said, to watch your telecast. King is smart. Taking Risk at 11:45, 20 and 4:40. The defending champion Valley Crossing. Good effort for Dickie Small. 2 seconds in 2 grade ones this weekend for Dick Small. And Proud Shot, a real long shot third. Bob?
48-1. Well, this guy, Mark Johnston, will eat some mud any day for a grade 1 win. He's joined by assistant trainer Chick Borden and one of the owners, Baird Brittingham. And, gentlemen, congratulations. Let's start with you, Mr. Johnston. And when you saw yourself sitting in 3rd place and those 2 jocks in front of you whipping and driving through fast fractions, you must have been salivating.
I was smiling right then. Wasn't ready to celebrate just yet because I had some good closures behind me, but that just set it up perfect. And I was sitting, you know, in the garden spot. He was just galloping. And right here, I mean, I'm just sitting. I haven't really asked him yet, but I see Storm Tower getting a little bit loose, and I wasn't too worried about him because he got pressed. But I wanted to get my horse, you know, going a little bit just in case he was going to finish up.
And he blew by Storm Tower like he was standing still. And Baird Brittingham, who's an old football player from Yale, who has a partner named Dan Lufkin, a Yale roommate. Not a bad $20,000 investment.
Well, we're very excited. I mean, you know, you get a lot of bad ones, but I mean, my gosh, to have one like this, it's a lifetime work, and we've done it now. My life has been complete to have a horse like this. And
to King Leatherberry, who is not here, he's back in Maryland. We understand, yes, he saddled another stakes winner in Maryland today. Congratulations, gentlemen. Congratulations. Let's go back to Chris Lincoln. Chris?
All right, Bob, we'll take a look at the full order for the Philip H. Iselin. Taking Risk running 4th, Valley Crossing. Taking Risk winning the race, Valley Crossing, Proud Shot, Mighty Avanti. And then Wallinda running there. As you see, Coal Digger, It's a Little Known Fact, Storm Tower, and Northern Trend was last. Just starting a sprinkle of rain as we're wrapping things up here and looking ahead. Next week, we'll be live at Saratoga Springs, New York for the Whitney. We'll also have coverage from Arlington of the Beverly D, the big filly and mare turf race. Join us at 5 o'clock then Sunday for the Arlington Million, a big doubleheader for you. Coming up on ESPN, Volvo International Tennis Finals as Boris Becker continues his comeback. That's coming up next from the Yale Center in New Haven, Connecticut. Racing to the Breeders' Cup coverage of the Iselin and the John A. Morris from Monmouth Park in Saratoga. Presented by Thrifty Car Rental. And brought to you today by the folks that gave you the Budweiser long shot. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age for a crisp, clear, classic taste. By Keeneland, source of the classic horse. The Thoroughbred Racing Association, assuring the highest racing standards. By Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates. And by the DeBartolo Corporation, leading the way to the 21st century. Ground transportation provided by Thrifty Car Rental. For reservations at over 850 locations worldwide, call Thrifty at 1-800-4CARS. This has been an ESPN Sports presentation in association with Winter Communications. So the graveyard of favorites has caught them both here today at the John A. Morris. It's Link River winning, paying $19.40. Here at the Philip H. Iselin, it's Taking Risk, paying $11.40. So long, everyone.